It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light, little flock. Turn to the book of Matthew, chapter 26. Before we start, like I've said, I've heard the complaints and the murmurings among the body recently. And it's not that there ever is a time when you're in the flesh where you won't hear some kind of complaining and murmuring. In other words, while you're on the earth, you will hear it. But this is different. This is different. The servants, the ones who claim to be servants, prophets, shepherds, they are the ones that are doing this murmuring and complaining. There are others who are experiencing the same thing that's making these servants murmur and complain. They're experiencing it, except they're not murmuring and complaining. Some know why it's happening and some don't. Some that don't are just asking the question, what's going on? Why is things different? Well, as I've said, there are two worlds. There are two minds, spiritual and carnal. Now, if you're a servant of God, then you have had to have been lifted up spiritually, or you couldn't serve God and do nothing, because they who worship him must worship him in spirit. And the way that they're worshiping is in the mind, because the spirit is a mind. Can you guys understand that today? So if you become carnally minded, then you have been tempted out of the spiritual mind where you once were. So let's say you're a servant and you're spiritually minded and you're going about the work that Abba is giving you to do. But meanwhile, while you're doing this labor, or while you're taking a break from the labor, I should say, which is more accurately, when you take this break from the labor, or when you're not doing the labor, but you're just chilling, or you're just going about your normal day, then you start to become tempted to enter the carnal mind. Now, if you don't know the devices of the carnal mind, or in other words, you don't know the attributes of the carnal mind, then how do you know the signals to let you know when you're in the carnal mind? You see what I'm saying to you? How do you know that's the color you're painting with when you paint your picture? If you don't recognize what green is, what yellow is, what red is, what blue is. If you don't know the distinct differences between the colors, then how do you know when I say paint with the green color, how do you know what color I'm telling you to paint with? Do you understand? Same thing here with the spirit and the carnal. If you don't know how the carnal mind speaks, then you could be deceived and tempted into it and not even know you're there. You see what I mean? You could be painting with the wrong color and not even know that you are. But we don't want that today, little flock, especially for the true servants, because we know that there are deceivers who have crept in. There are false shepherds, there are false pastors, and people who claim to have been servants of God who are going to be knocked off of this tree because the wind is blowing, like the grandson keeps telling you guys. I said the wind blew, the very weak branches were broke off, but there were still some that were hanging on the tree that are going to break off eventually because they're not strong enough to hang on. But they're just not broken off yet because the breeze hasn't blown hard enough. You see, little flock? In other words, the temptation has not turned up the heat on you. When it does, then those weak branches will break off as well. Even though they seemed to be strong, they seemed to be standing, but they fell. You understand those words? Well, we're going to get into all of this as we study these scriptures today, as we read them and gain understanding of them and unveil them and break the seed open, revealing the internal contents of what we're reading. It should help you understand what's going on around you. You should be prepared at the end of this message. And I've made messages about this before, but I'm going to make another one because obviously there are members who still have not accepted it yet. The time that you're living in, you see? Matthew 26. Start at verse 1. And it came to pass, when Yahushua had finished all these sayings, he said unto his disciples, so who is he talking to? That's the key. Who's talking and who is he talking to? It's very important. Yahushua's talking, and he's talking to his disciples. So his disciples will be considered servants, right? See that, little flockulators? Servants. Well, he's speaking to them. Let's see what he says. You know, not you might be thinking, or you may not know this. No, you know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover. Do you hear that, little flockulators? Now, I've made videos, like I said, about the Passover, what it means, what it represents, what you should be doing when the Passover come, which is now. Don't listen to those who are led by the carnal mind, because they will lead you to the wrong color. You need someone of the spiritual mind who can lead you in all truth. You see that there, little flock? So as I have told you, the Passover is now. It's happening now. You see it? So it would be wise that you do the things that you were told to do. Well, how can you do it if you don't understand it? Like I told you, like the eunuch told Philip. How can I understand unless some man guide me? You see that there? It's the right attitude to have. All right? So let's go. You know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. The Son of Man is the Spirit. So there is a war, as I've told you, between the carnal mind and the spiritual mind. The Bible calls these two Esau and Jacob as well. There was war when they were inside of the womb before they ever came out. The womb represents heaven, or in other words, a place of unseen. The invisible, which is where the spirit is. You see, which is where Christ told you to pay attention to, where he focused your attention to. It was the inner world. Well, the inner world of a woman is her womb. So this represents the place where things are made before they come out and be made manifest to men. So we all have a womb within us where we conceive. Conceive is what it means when a woman gets pregnant. Well, what happens when you receive a thought and you accept that thought? You conceive it. And now it's growing into an image. Can you hear that today, little flock? See, how can I know unless some man guide me? I'm doing the guiding. That's what a shepherd do. But we're going to read what happens if you don't have a shepherd, little flock. Or if that shepherd is smitten and removed from your sight. You see, little flockulators? Well, he just said the Son of Man is betrayed. When? Passover he is. Why? Because of the events that take place during Passover. Do you know what the events that take place are? If you don't, then how can you prepare for it? See? All right. The Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes and the elders of the people unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas. Do you hear that, little flockulators? So here is the Spirit, which is Yahusha, with his disciples, those who are led by the Spirit, you see? And then on the other side, we have the carnal mind and those who are led by the carnal mind. The palace. I want you to hear it, little flock. The palace of the high priest Caiaphas is where they were. Do you hear it or do you not hear that? They're both high priests, but look at the different settings that they're in. Come on, little flock, and hear what the grandson's saying to you. Can you hear me? There are two high priests. One's named Caiaphas, one is named Yahusha. One is of the order of Levi, and one is of the order of Melchizedek. You see it? They both have their followers, and they're both doing something during the time of Passover. Now you have to decide, which one are you? Which flock are you of? The one that's in the palace, like a king of the world would be? Are you of that high priest order, chilling with them, plotting? Huh? Or are you with the true shepherd, the true high priest, who's in a garden we're going to read about? Well, let's continue reading and let's see. Let's see what we find here, little flockulators. Verse 4. And they consulted that they might take Yahusha by what? Subtlety. Read Genesis. He was more subtle than any beast of the field. Can you hear that, little flock of letters, or can you hear it? So they were going to take him using the power of their father. Obviously, isn't it? Subtlety, and do what? Kill him. So are they doing the bidding of Abba or their father? Like I've told you, he was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. So if he was a murderer from the beginning and they're plotting how they may sneakily kill somebody, then it sounds like what a serpent does. A serpent sneakily kills a person. He sneak up on him and kill him. Well, that's what we just read there, that the high priest, the scribes, and the elders of the people were doing. These are supposed to be the leaders and the shepherds of the flock. Do you see it? Okay, hope you do. But they said, not on the feast day. Now, didn't we just hear Yahushua say it's 2 days? And it's going to be the feast of Passover. So they're both talking about a Passover feast. But look at how different they're talking about it. Now, at this time, who are the people listening to? Would it be the high priest, Caiaphas, the scribes, and the elders? They said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people. See, we're so worried about what the people think about what we do, that we want them to think that what we're doing is still keeping God's ways, even though we're about to kill God's son. We still want the people to judge us as clean and as righteous, even though God doesn't. Look what their mind is set on. The reason why I'm reading this and breaking down these two worlds is so that you can see the colors on your palette there. So that when I say paint with green, you'll actually paint with green and not blue. In other words, you'll paint the doorpost and the lintels of your house correctly, like I told you to do it. And you won't paint it wrong. Can't you hear what I'm saying? Let's continue. And let's see if lintels and a doorpost come up in this message that we're talking about today, since we're talking about Passover. Now, when Yahushua was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, stop. According to Levitical law, would you see a Levitical high priest in the house of a leper? No, you wouldn't. Why? Because it's considered to be unclean to even touch a leper. See what I mean, little flockulators? But where is Yahushua? He's in the house of a leper. Now let's see what happens when he's in this man's house. All right. Now, when Yahushua was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. You hear that there? Now, this woman that was doing this, what did those men like Simon and everybody else consider to be the case with this woman? That she was unclean. They said, if you knew what manner of woman that was, Yahushua, you wouldn't even let her touch you. That's ironic, coming from a leper. Since we're all in the house of a leper, that's pretty interesting you're saying that about that woman. You consider her to be unclean. You see what I mean about how people are judging little flockulators? But let's continue. Let's see what this woman did when she came in. She had a precious box, it said. A box of precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. And when his disciples saw it, they had indignation. Stop. Hey! Now, I want you to see that. I just want you guys to let that percolate in your pot and let it simmer real quick so you can understand what you're about to eat. You can get a good aroma, sniff and see what's in that pot before you consume it. He said they got filled with indignation, y'all. His followers did when they saw that. Keep listening. All right. When they saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? Stop. Who did she pour it on? She poured it on Yahushua. But what does his disciples say? Why did you waste that? It said it was precious ointment. So that means it was valuable. Why did you waste that valuable thing on this man? As if the man isn't more valuable than the box and the damn ointment. But let's see. What purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. Look at that. We could have used that and sold it and got some money and gave that money to the poor. We read in another gospel that that was Judas that said that. And it was not that he cared for the poor, is why he said it. It was because what? It was because what? He held the bag in what was put therein. So was he concerned with Yahusha, or was he concerned with the money? Okay. And it says they. So it means that just because he spoke up and said it, it doesn't mean the other ones weren't thinking it. They were. They just didn't have the gall and balls to say it like Judas did. You see? When Yahusha understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye this woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For you have the poor always with you, but me, see what I mean about the value, you have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman have done, be told for a memorial of her. That's Mary, who he's talking about there. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, see, that pissed him off. Oh, fuck that. This guy's tripping. So I want you to pay attention to the energy you see rising up in the men and in the followers as the Passover approaches. I don't know if you guys can understand what the grandson's really telling you. Since you're in that time now, then maybe you need to pay attention to what's happening to those men. Since you're complaining, talking about, when will it ever end? The devil just keeps attacking and attacking me and attacking me. He won't relent. Well, listen to what the grandson is telling you today. Okay? Judas Iscariot went out unto the chief priests. Where are the chief priests? They're plotting. We just read it. They're plotting. So Judas went to them where they were plotting. He left that shepherd and went to another shepherd. Why? Well, what do you think caused him to have indignation? We just read it. We could have been made some money. Talking about this nigga, this net, tired of this nigga, man. I want some money. I'm going to where they're going willing to pay me. Now, I just saw a so-called servant of God say himself, I'm going to where there are paying customers. I want you to compare what that man said to what Judas said. He also said, y'all ain't supporting, y'all ain't paying me to do this work, then I'm going to go to where I'm paid. And if y'all really support me, then y'all will go there. But he did say, I'm going to where there are paying customers. That was his words. So does that sound like Yahusha, or does that sound like Judas, who's selling out Yahusha, selling out his position as a disciple, going to where the money is? Well, let's see. Let's see. Watch this. And he said unto them, who? The chief priest. What will you give me? Stop. I don't want to hear anything else yet. I want you to marinate on that. What will you give me? So then what is his motivation for doing anything that he's preparing to do here? To get. What did I tell you is the mark of Cain? Well, in case you guys have not heard me say it, I've said it many times, but in case you have not heard me say it, in the beginning, Eve had a son, and she had that son because of her own desire. Not because of her husband's desire, because of hers. So then when she had that son, his name was Cain. And do you know why he was called Cain? Because his mother said, I have gotten a man. I have acquired. His name means to get and acquire. That's why she called him that. I have gotten. She didn't say we. She didn't say my husband and I. She said I have. So do you guys understand why Cain was of the wicked one? He came out of low passion and desire. Selfish desire for self. I want a child. How many women lay down with a man? Watch, let's just prove it. How many women lay down with a man, have his child, yet hate and reject him, and kick him out and don't let him have anything to do with the child? And she will even say, that's my child. She excludes the father. Well, that produces Cain. Do you want a child that's Cain, or do you want an Abel? Well, your intent for why you want it will determine which one he'll be. Gosh golly, grandson, I swear, your blade slices through butter like it's a hot summer's day, dude. It just does. Okay, and we're going to keep on slicing and dicing until we get down to the bone and marrow and expose the intents of everybody's heart that's listening to this to decide which side you're falling on, the side of getting and acquiring, like that brother said. I'm going where there are paying customers. Well, the Bible says there are those who teach the word for filthy lucre. In other words, they will not do what I'm doing today unless they are paid to do it. Yes, become a member of my channel. And then you start seeing them post videos, and then you go to click to watch the video, try to get the information, and you realize you're not a member, you're not a paying member, so you couldn't get access to the video. You're like, wait a minute, you clicked on it, you're waiting for it to load up and shit, you're like, huh? You look on the screen, members only. You click it, you're like, wait a minute, members only, okay, I'll be a member, fuck it. You click on it, it's like $9.99 a month. You're like, wait a minute here. I can't hear what you're saying unless I pay? That's a little bit squirrely, wouldn't you say? I would say so, but yet I'm seeing it happen. People that say that they're of God and they're of the children of the light, and yet you got to be a member if you want to hear this exclusive content. And then they'll post little videos, little parts of videos for you to listen to that are not members, so that allure you to want to be a member so that you'll pay to get the full information. Well, then I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today for free, would I? Do you have to be a member to hear this message? Is it chock full of diamonds as it always is? So then how come I'm not saying, hey guys, I would like to tell you all this because it's a matter of life and death, and you will be saved if you hear this message, but I'm going to have to charge you if you want to hear it. What if that were done to me when Abba was giving me the message? What if he said, well, I ain't giving it to you unless you give me some, unless you pay me. I ain't giving you no damn knowledge. I ain't giving you no damn wisdom unless you pay me for it. Now, what happened when a guy thought that he could pay for the power the Holy Spirit affords? What happened when he thought he could pay for it? I can get it by buying it. He was told by Peter, let your silver and your gold perish with you, for you thought that the gift of the Holy Ghost could be paid for with money? Then die with your gold and your silver. That's what he told him. Oh gosh, I don't know if you guys can hear what the grandson be saying sometimes. Continuing. Watch this. And he said unto them, what will you give me? Now that we broke that down. Because isn't Judas called the son of perdition? What is Cain called? Swing, 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 swing. Don't you see it? Okay. So he's going to display the characteristics of the son of perdition. He will slay his brother to get. Now, let's see if that's what this son of perdition is going to do, as if the son of perdition ever does anything different. He doesn't. But let's just see. So he said, what will you give me? Right? Let's see. And I will deliver him unto you. So that's the exchange that we're going to do. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. 30 pieces of silver. So now he said, what will you give me? As if it was going to be something other than money, guys. They gave him money. So it wasn't nothing else. You see it? And from that time, so when they covenanted with him, from that time on, what did he do? He sought opportunity to betray him. He was looking for a chance and an opportunity to betray him ever since they told him that they would pay him if he did. So then what was the intention of his heart, since that's what God judges? Self-gain, greed, acquiring for self at the expense of your brother. That sounds like Cain to me. Yes, because it is Cain again. You see it? Like I've told you about when the grandson is born, here come the red devil to start killing, like we read here. See, little flock? Because they don't like what I'm saying to you. That's why. All right. Now, the first day, here we go. of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? So the feast of unleavened bread and Passover are synonymous. What has the grandson been telling you guys about leaven? I got a video called You Got Leaven, You Ain't Got Heaven. So why are they calling it the feast of unleavened bread if it's well that you have leaven inside of your body? Well, it ain't good that you do. And unfortunately, you have a lot of people that say, I keep the feast of unleavened bread, and they take leaven out of their houses. They take yeast out of their houses. They take the loaf of bread that's got yeast in it. They throw it out into the trash, and they feel like they have accomplished a good thing. You don't have nobody guiding you if you thought you kept the feast because you got that leaven out of your physical house. He wants it up out of your body. Didn't he tell you, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees? So was the Pharisees offering you a piece of bread that had yeast in it that you should beware of? Is that what you guys think? Or do you think it's the information that they're offering you? It's laced. So then don't take it into your body. It'll puff you up and make you think you something you not. Like them. So then don't receive it. Be unleavened like me. See how it's about internal? We're going to keep proving that it is in case you guys don't think that it is. We're going to make sure you know by the end of this message, like I said. Nah. All right. He said, go into the city to such a man and saying to him, the master saith, my time is at hand. My time is at hand. That's what he said. He said he was going to be betrayed earlier. See, it's 2 days away, about to be betrayed. Didn't he say that? Now my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at my house with my disciples. Okay, excuse me. The master saith, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples, at your house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Yahushua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now, when the even was come, he sat down with the 12. And as they did eat, he said, watch, verily I say unto you that one of you shall betray me. Look it, little flock. Didn't he say that? Didn't he say it? Here it comes. Watch what happens when he says this. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? Look at what I'm explaining to you, little flockolaters. They didn't even know who it was. It was one out of their own camp, and they didn't know it. They didn't all turn and say, Judas, it's you, brother. I know it's you. That's not what happened. They were all sorrowful, worried that it was them. Damn, is it me? That's what they were saying, right? Let's continue. Well, before we continue, that Lord, is it I? What is that called? Doubt. Questioning, wondering. Love not made perfect for Yahushua or something? Let's see. And he answered and said, he that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goeth, as it is written of him. But woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It hath been good for that man if he had not been born. Hear that? Then Judas, which betrayed him, answered and said, watch this, Master, is it I? Master, is it I? Didn't it just say that when they said we're going to give you 30 pieces of silver, you sought from that very moment to betray him, to find an opportunity to betray? And then you're going to sit up here and say, is it I? Because he has to outwardly appear righteous unto men. So since they said that, he's going to say it too. Is it I? Is it I? He's like, yeah, is it I? I'm no different than the sheep. See, I'm the same as the sheep. I am. See, look at me. Watch what Yahushua going to say to him. He said unto him, you have said. You said. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread. Watch this. Blessed it, break it, gave it to the disciples and said. So this bread that he took, was it leavened or unleavened? You know that it was unleavened because it represents something. It's not the unleavened bread he holding in his hand that's important. It's what it represents that's important. And he's going to tell you what it represents. Now watch. He said, take, eat. This is my body. So then the unleavened bread is the type of body you should have. Unleavened bread means it's not puffed up. Now check about love and read the definition in First Corinthians and see if it lines up like a Lego and it will click. Love is not puffed up. It vaunteth not up itself. See how it connect? So if you got leaven, then you're going to be puffed up. Like the Pharisees, chief priest Caiaphas living in a palace. Then you're going to be puffed up because of your position, because of your status, because of your wealth, because of your money, because of your pool, because of your power over the people. You've become puffed up. That's why he told you to beware of them niggas. See? That's why he said that. Beware. So he said, this unleavened bread represents my body, the state that my body is in, the state that your body needs to be in so that when the angel pass over, it don't kill you. I don't know if y'all can hear that warning. Like I said, it's very imperative that y'all listen to this. I can see y'all suffering from the warning shots that have been fired. It ain't even fully occurred yet, and yet people are already feeling the energy like, there's a shift. I can't stop thinking all these negative things. I can't stop stressing. Fuck, there's everything just fucking happening to me. Goddamn, give me a break, shit. I need some damn rest from this shit. See, that's going on in their minds. You see it? That's the prerequisite that something's about to occur. I'm telling you what's about to occur so you can be prepared for it. I've been telling y'all. I've been telling you. Search my videos and see if I've been telling you and warning you guys about this. All right? Just like Noah. Just as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man. Okay, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it. Well, what is that? Is that you too? For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. For this is my blood. So that's what the wine was. So the bread represents his body. Of course, the drink represents his blood, which many people have heard this. They've all heard it, but that don't mean that you understand it because it got a shell over the seed that has to be cracked open for you to look on the inside and see it. And you need a Nabi to do that for you. Like the eunuch said about Philip, I need Nabi. I need somebody to help me. I need somebody to guide me. Somebody that can see. Can you hear me today, little flock of ladies? All right. He said, drink all of it. This is the New Testament. So what's the new commandment that he gave us? Love one another. Ain't hard to understand to me. It's the opposite of what Judas is doing. So why are y'all making it out to be a whole laundry list of shit? I don't understand. Judas ain't got a long laundry list of shit he doing, do he? But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. See that there, little flock? Then saith Yahushua unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. Stop. I need you guys to hear it. If you don't hear what I'm saying, you ain't going to be prepared, man. When the offense comes, you literally won't be prepared because you won't know why it's there. You won't know why you're offended. I'm telling you why, so that you can be prepared and see it and not be offended. Don't you hear me? Well, let's read. All of you shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd. See, person doing like what I'm doing for you, little flock. You see it? And the sheep of the flock, the little flock, shall be scattered abroad. Scattered. You see it? Because if you've been following that shepherd and he's been bonking all the whack-a-moles and bonking everybody that tried to do you harm, and then all of a sudden he just stands there this time. He said, this night you will be offended because of me. So there's something you're going to do, shepherd, not them. It's not about what the hell they're going to do to you. It's about what you're going to do when they do what they do. What are you going to do? Well, if it's going to cause people to be offended, they're not going to pay attention to what you do, nor are they going to do what you do when the trouble hits them. See what I'm saying, little flock? You hear it? You hear why it's so imperative to listen what the grandson's saying right now? They're offended. Why? Because he's not going to open his mouth. He's going to remain patient. He's going to be calm. He's not going to fight back. He's going to give himself up. And that's going to be offensive. You're going to say, why don't you fight? How is this going to work, what you're doing? Just like the reason you argue with your wife, nigga. The reason why you cussed out your kid. The reason why you fought with your brother. The reason why you got all enmity and strife with people. It's the same damn reason. Because you're offended at doing what Christ told you to do, which is be quiet, chill. Oh, but your wife tempted you because she said, you ain't no fucking man. You ain't shit, nigga. I'm regretting being with your ass. I'm sick of you. I hate the fact that I ever married you. See, about that temptation? What is it tempting that man to do? To come out of this spiritual mind of life and peace. He can remain there and remain peace and quiet, like Yahushua said. But that's offensive to a man. Why? Because this bitch ain't about to talk to me like that. No. You see that reaction I just had? You see the spit damn flying out of my mouth and everything? Head moving all crazy and everything? Keep that in mind. That's the sign that you're in the carnal mind. That shit I was just doing is the proof. Fuck that. That bitch talking to me all crazy and shit. You gonna respect me. Yahushua could have did that, and he gonna say he could have did it, but he didn't. Watch. So he already said y'all gonna be offended because of the way I'm gonna handle these niggas coming at me. You see that? Watch this. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Watch what Peter gonna say. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Shit. You know what the hell this guy's talking about? I'll never be offended of following you, Yahushua. Watch out for the leaven. Watch out for it. Beware, thinking you stand, lest you fall. Let's see. Yahushua answered unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me 3 times, thrice. Huh? I just said I'll never betray you. What you mean? I'll never be offended, I mean. That's what he said. I'll never be offended. What do you mean? I'm going to deny. Well, let's keep reading. Peter said unto him, then cometh Yahushua. Oh, excuse me. That was Peter talking. Where am I at? Verse 35. That's right. My bad, y'all. Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. I want y'all to hear that part. See? They were emboldened by that. Yes, that's right. I remember what he told Peter. When you are converted, strengthen your brothers. Look at how his brothers followed him when he made that bold statement. Look at how it emboldened the other brothers. So if he's in righteousness when he stands up, then his brothers will be led by a righteous man, and they will be led by a rock. But if they're led by a double-minded man that goes back and forth, that sinks in on the water and cries out and says, help me, save me, Lord. You see? Then they're going to be led in their pride, false zeal. You see it? Continuing. Then cometh Yahushua with them unto a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. All right, little flock, do you see what you need to be doing during the hour of temptation that you shall endure, that shall try the whole the whole earth and all them that dwell upon it? So ain't nobody going to escape it. That's why he said all people going to be offended. This is what's going to happen, what's called the great falling away. It's because people are offended at what is now required of you. Your whole, what you call your Christian journey and your Christian faith, you've been traveling, haven't you? Well, upon that road of travel, right before you're birthed out into the kingdom, you go through a narrow pass, just like a baby does before its birth. And when that baby is about to come, a travail takes place. Travail takes place and sorrow take hold. Well, that travail is that temptation and that test to get you to leave your state of peace and to say, oh God, I'm bleeding. Oh, is the baby okay? Oh my God, what if I die? What if the baby dies? Oh my God. Start you thinking carnal shit. Start to thinking carnal shit. Same thing happened to you. You see it? So then you get offended at what he tells you to do. So in other words, the husband goes to the wife while she's panicking because she's about to push the baby out. The comforter or her husband comes to her, puts his hand on her hand, and says, "Baby, calm down, breathe, stay peaceful." She don't want to hear that in that moment. I've witnessed it my damn self. She's offended that you're trying to tell her to do something that she don't think she can do. Just like people don't think they can stand there and get beaten and spat on and not say nothing. I don't know if you guys can hear the accuracy. We're going to make it more clear, like I said. All right. So he says, "Sit ye here while I go and pray yonder." And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee. So he took faith, hope, and love. Peter, James, and John. See? And began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Just like the woman before she's birthed, because Yahushua's about to be birthed. But a seed must die first before it can resprout. He said, "When I am risen again." Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. "Then saith he unto them, My soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto the bridge of the carnal minds," right at the edge. See, you're gonna flock. Well, if you were about to go through and endure what Yahushua did, don't you think you would be struggling not to become carnally minded? Don't you think you would be struggling not to become fearful, not to become skeptical, not to lose faith? Don't you think it would be a struggle? So what would keep you during that struggle? Prayer. Well, we're going to see. We're going to see. Right? "Tarry ye here and watch with me." Watch with me. "And he went a little farther and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt." That's what you're saying when people are spitting on you. That's what you're saying when the devil is talking in your ear, telling you you're going to starve because you don't see any food. He's telling you you're not going to have anything to drink, just like he did to the children of Israel who murmured and complained because of their circumstances, which seemed hard, even though they had a Christ with them who loved them and protected them and kept them and fed them and clothed them and did everything for them. They still murmured and complained because they walked by sight, and since they couldn't see Christ and they didn't think he was there with them. Well, it's the same thing you're going through when you're getting spat on and people are mistreating you and ridiculing you and casting your name down as evil and despitefully using you because of the hour of darkness that has taken hold of this damn earth and iniquity is abounding. How are you going to handle it? Fuck that. I'm going to fight back, man. Okay. You're going to do what Christ told you not to do. We're going to see, because Peter, that same one, watch how he's going to try to fight back and watch how Yahushua's going to stop him. Y'all think I'm just making stuff up. We're going to see. Watch. Verse 40. "And he cometh unto his disciples and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, What? Could you not watch with me 1 hour? He said that to Peter. Could you watch with me 1 hour? I thought you said you'll go with me all the way to the death, man. You can't even watch 1 hour with me. What are they watching for? Let's see. Let's see. He's telling them to watch, so let's see. Verse 41, "Watch and pray," like the grandson keep telling you to do. Did you guys see my little video I posted when I woke up this morning and I heard something going crunch, crunch, crunch out my window? I said, what the heck is that sound? I looked out the window and what did I see? I saw a woodchuck sitting on a branch in some bushes eating some leaves. And I thought to myself, that's just strange. I mean, sometimes you might see them running around, but they're usually under the ground. This dude's up in a tree, chilling, eating by my window, which caught my attention, which made me look and see him. And I got a video so that I could show it to you guys. What does it mean? I told you what it means. Woodchuck represent being watchful because there's a change in the atmosphere. I made a post on my community page that says, you guys don't feel the change in the air? You don't hear the stomachs growling of the Nephilim, the fallen ones? You don't hear them looking for victims to jump on? Remember that post I made? Maybe you guys do, maybe you don't. Like I said, whether you guys were here or for a bear, maybe you guys just think I'm just talking. I don't know. But I'm doing my job, so it ain't going to be no excuse. There ain't going to be no excuse. You see me? All right. Watch this. Watch and pray that you what? Enter not into temptation, that you don't fall off into the carnal mind, because you're being forced and pushed damn near into it by everything around you. It's trying to force you into the carnal mind. Believe me, worship me. Come on, fall before me and worship me. I'll do anything to have it. That's basically what the carnal mind does. It wants to squeeze the pliers on you so tight that you just give in and say, fuck it, man, make it stop. See? Just make it stop. Like that woman I told you guys about that had those 7 sons, that Antiochus Epiphanes, the Greek, was killing them one by one. And he told her, I'll stop killing them if you just fall down and worship my gods and denounce yours. But she wouldn't do it. So he killed her sons. She had to give that up. See how she had to love Christ more than her own sons? You guys see that? You don't think that was a hell of a temptation that woman had to endure? You guys don't think so? You don't think that was tempting her to want to fight back, to want to say something, to want to do something? But what did she do? She stood there, it said, like a man. It said that they marveled over her because expecting her to act like a woman and fall down and scream and beg. She didn't. She was stronger than most men would have been, the scripture says. Most people are like, I never read that story, grandson. Search the scriptures, you'll find it. Guarantee you. I guarantee you. Watch this here. So he said, watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. So that is your prayer. So during Passover, as we're reading what's going on here, what did he tell them to do? Watch and pray. Why do you think Moses told them to have your shoes on, your staff in your hand? Because you're watching. There's no other reason why you be all dressed and ready to go. That's what you're waiting for. You're waiting to be liberated. Be watchful that you don't enter into this temptation, and pray. You see it? Very specific. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. See, there's only 2. I told you. If you try to do it with your flesh mind, or if you try to fight with your flesh, then you will be weak. But the spirit indeed is willing. It wants to do it. So trust in the spirit. Don't trust in the flesh. You see it? He went away again the second time and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, then your will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. They wanted to do it, but they were just tired. They're weary. What does it say about the saints? He shall wear them out. When you get wore out, you get sleepy and tired. I told you, he pressures you and pressures you and pressures you until you just wore down. And you just say, fuck it, man. Fuck it, bro. Whatever. I just can't do it, man. Because the flesh is weak. That's what he wants. You see? You see? Watch this. And he left them and went away again and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same words. So did he pray 3 different prayers, or did he pray the same prayer 3 times? Same thing. Very simple prayer, very few words as well. Then cometh he to his disciples and saith unto him, Sleep on now and take your rest. Behold, watch this. The hour is at hand. What hour? He just told you, the hour of temptation. When the shepherd is smitten, you're going to be tempted to not believe him anymore and to turn away and say, man, that guy, I knew he wasn't shit. I knew that nigga wasn't worth listening to. I knew it. See? Continuing. Watch this. The hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. So during the Passover, the hour of temptation, see, he is betrayed. That's when the Son of Man, or the Spirit, is betrayed, and the carnal mind is accepted. And once the carnal mind is accepted, then you are cut off from the Spirit. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, look, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves from the chief priests, here we go, elders of the people. Same guys. Told you. They sent him. They said, there you go. So they had armed guards and everything, armed security, money. Look at all this shit. That's what they got. Y'all shouldn't have none of that. So they came. Look, I told you how the two shepherds were. There's a wicked one and a good one. We see what the wicked one is like. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he. Hold him fast. Look what kind of betrayal it is. You're going to betray the Spirit by acting like you love the Spirit, by acting like you accept and are subject to it, but you're not. That's what Judas' whole thing was. He acted like he was subject to it and he accepted it, but he really wasn't in his heart. So what does Christ say? You honor me with your lips, but your heart. So you honor me with your lips by kissing me, but your heart isn't with me. Imagine that, man. Kissing a man on his cheek, getting that close where you can smell him and touch his skin with your lips, and turn around and know why you doing that. You know you setting him up when you do that. What kind of shit is that? What kind of people is that? Oh, that's disgusting to me to be like that. That is totally and utterly disgusting. How do you feel about it? And forthwith he came to Yahusha and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. Told you, act like he honored him while betraying him. So then is it possible that that could happen to you in your life? Yes. That's why it's going to tempt you. Because it ain't coming from somebody that didn't act like they was loyal. It ain't coming from somebody that didn't act like they was down from you. It didn't come from somebody, like I told you, the so-called servant of God saying, I'm going somewhere where there's paying customers. So he's betraying Christ, but he's kissing him, saying he love him. Hear what I'm saying to you, little flockulators? Damn, the Cinderella slippers is hitting a lot of niggas right now that said that they was gods in Christ. No, you ain't. And forthwith, he came to Yahusha, said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Yahusha said to him, Friend, look at that, friend, wherefore art thou come? What you come here for? Friend? Then came they and laid hands on Yahusha and took him. Watch this, little flock. And behold, one of them which were with Yahusha stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then said Yahusha unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Thinkest not that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? Do you hear it today, little flockulators? 12 legions of right thoughts to combat this shit I'm looking at. Telling you that right now. Okay? But how then shall the scripture be fulfilled thus it must be? Scripture got to be fulfilled. So I'm going to submit to the scripture, to the word, in every way, even unto death. See? And in that same hour said Yahusha to the multitudes, Are you come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with you, teaching in the temple, and you laid no hold on me. And they that had laid hold on Yahusha led him away to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and elders were assembled. We read about that in that palace. So they didn't took Yahusha there. So now it's high priest facing high priest over the leadership and rulership of Israel. Which one will they choose and which one will they deny? Well, let's see. But Peter followed him afar off unto the high priest's palace. Told you that's where he at. And went in and sat with the servants to see the end. So he went to see what was going to happen. Now the chief priests, elders, all the council sought false witness against Yahusha to put him to death. They sought it, guys. What did I tell you? What you desire is what you will be offered. But it all starts with your belly and what your appetite is. What was their appetite for? False witnesses to come forward. They're looking for it. They want and desire it. Can't you hear that shit? So that they can put him to death. But they found none. They couldn't even find one. Look at this shit, little flock. Couldn't find a false witness. They're looking for one. Watch this. Yea, though many false witnesses came, yet found they none. A whole bunch of people came up there, but they couldn't find one that was legit. See that there? At the last came two false witnesses. Two false witnesses. You see that little flock? And said, this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of El and to build it in 3 days. And the high priest arose and said unto him, answereth thou nothing? Did you hear what he said to you? You ain't gonna answer him? You hear that? And said, this fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days. And the high priest arose and said, answerest thou nothing? What is it which these witness against thee? But Yahushua held his peace. Stop. This is what I'm telling you about the word of his patience. Can y'all hear me? He said they would be offended at the way he act. So then the natural, wise thing to do is to bear down. Okay? To bear down and get ready to not be offended and to do what he's doing. So when the attack comes for you, somebody starts false accusing you, you just be like this. You know how hard that is to do? Why? Because you're offended that this person is accusing you, so you feel like you have to defend yourself, and you will not hold your peace. And remember I said, when you get in the carnal mind, you start spitting and you're looking all crazy and head moving, the eyes looking all crazy and shit, don't it? Well, let's continue to read and see if it comes up. Let's just see. All right. He held his peace, and the high priest answered and said to him, I adjure thee by the living God that you tell us whether you be the Christ, the Son of God. You hear that there? Yahushua standing wasn't saying nothing against them false witnesses. Now the high priest is talking to him. Let's see what he says. Yahushua said unto him, thou hast said, you said it. Nevertheless, I say unto you, hereafter shall you see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest rent his clothes, which is actually condemning himself to death by doing that if you read the law that he says he keeps and is a high priest of, saying, he have spoken blasphemy. What further need have we of witnesses, even though they were false witnesses? What further need we of any witnesses? Behold, now you have heard his blasphemy. Y'all heard out your own mouth. What think ye? They answered and said, he is guilty of death, which is what they wanted from the start. They're just looking for a reason, a way to get it done. Then did they spit in his face? Guys, come on. You let somebody spit in your shit without saying something? Just to prove I've been talking about this for a while, I remember making a video where I said, they spit in Yahushua's face and he didn't open his mouth. And as I visualized myself watching him endure these things like Peter was, I visualized myself sitting there like Peter and I was watching this take place. And I said to Yahushua, why aren't you opening your mouth? Why won't you speak? And he said to me, would you open your mouth if somebody was spitting in your face? I said, no. You hear me, little flock? Nope, I wouldn't open my mouth neither if they was spitting. I don't want that spit flying in my mouth because I'm trying to say something. See how Yahushua is? Life and peace. And they buffeted him, and others smote him with the palms of their hands. Smack fest. They were having a smack fest on Yahushua. You see that? Saying, watch this as well. Watch what they're saying. Prophesy unto us, you Christ. Who is he that smote thee? Because they had blindfolded him and started smacking him. Covered his head, started smacking him and said, tell us who did it. Now Peter sat, see, without in the palace, and a damsel came to him saying, thou also wast with Yahushua of Galilee. But he denied before them. See what Yahushua said came true? Why? Because he sees what's happening to Yahushua and he don't want that shit happening to him. So then are you worthy of him? If you don't want to go what he went through, if you don't want to take part in his sufferings and be a companion of his suffering, but you want to be a companion of the glory, you've already made that clear. But that's what I'm saying. When people see this part of their own life is what I'm telling you, little flock. There comes a point in everyone's life when you will be smear campaigned, lied on, and betrayed. That is the time for you to be silent and to take it. To take the spitting, take the smear campaign, the ridicule, the everything. Take it silently and hold your peace, because that's what the master is doing right there. But that's offensive when it comes time for you to do it in your life. And you don't know when that hour comes. So then when it comes, you're not prepared. You weren't watching or praying. So you just lashed out with the carnal mind, which is self-defense. But he denied them, saying, I know not what thou sayest. I don't know what you're talking about. But when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him and said unto him that were there, This fellow was also with Yahushua of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a while came unto him they that stood by and said to Peter, Surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech bewrayeth thee. We can tell by how you're talking that you were with Yahushua. You see it? Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the word of Yahushua, which said unto him, Before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly. He went out and wept bitterly. Did you hear it? Because he had said something that he was not able to fulfill because he had slipped into the carnal mind of fear instead of perfect love and said, yeah, I was with him. What about it? Because the righteous are as bold as a lion, but the wicked flee when nobody pursuing them. He thought they were going to pursue him and take him too. So he said, no, I don't know what you talking about. Shit, nigga, die. You lying on me, said I know that man. Die, nigga. That's what cursing is. Bringing harm upon somebody with your words because you are exposed. You see that there? Go to Exodus chapter 12. So do you see the events that take place during Passover? Do you see it? These are the events that take place right before you're called out of slavery, out of the carnal mind, out of bondage, out of slavery, into a new. We're going to prove it. Exodus chapter 12, verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months, and it shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for a house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls, every man according to his eating, and shall make your count for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats, and you shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take hold of the blood and strike it on the two side posts. I asked you, would this come up? And yes, it has. And on the upper doorpost of the houses wherein they shall eat it. Stop. So what is he telling them to do, little flock? You need a guide to break it down for you, or you're going to think he's talking about getting you a lamb, slitting his throat, collecting his blood, painting on your house. But that's obviously not what he's talking about. He's talking about all the Israelites need to be eating, as Christ said, his body and drinking his blood. Since he is the lamb, well, what does that mean? Receive his teachings, actions, and way of life. Since life is in the blood, then receive that into your being and become one with it so that you can do the same thing that he did whilst in his body, overcoming it, and you shall overcome and sit in his throne as he has sat in his father's throne. That's what he said. All right. And you shall keep, yeah, we read that. And they shall take the blood, yep, and paint the house with it. Okay, so that means the door. What's the door I told you about? The place right here in your mind, what Jacob called it Penuel, the meeting place. That's where a door is, where you meet people that come to your house. They knock on your door. You come to the door and open it and say, hi, how you doing? What you need? That's where y'all have met. Now, you have a choice of whether to let him in or not. I use a vampire as an example. If a vampire come to your house, knock on your door, can he just walk in, or does he have to be invited in? Well, he has to be invited in. So the same thing with unclean thoughts. That unclean ass vampire can't get in unless you let him come in and invite him in. Same thing with unclean thoughts. In other words, the carnal mind. So that door is covered with Christ's blood. So that when a carnal mind seeks to come into that door, it sees that blood and goes, pew, shit. Woo! I'm not going over there. Damn, can you see me? Did Yahusha see me, or did I get out of there before he did? How do I know they be acting like that? Y'all must not have read y'all scriptures about how the demons act when Yahusha walk in the building. I know how they act. They get the knees quaking and shit, get to doing like this and shit. They get to shimmying and shit, shaking and quaking and every damn thing. We read that many times about how they feel. So then it's no different when they see that blood painted on the door of your mind and they go, wait a minute, no, he only allows Christ in there. Can't go in there. I don't want to go in there, Christ in there, because he'll fillet my ass and tear my ass up and kill me. Don't want to go in there. That's an unclean thought. You see, he flees. You see, you resist him, he flee. You resist him with the blood of Christ. Oh my God, oh my goodness, oh my God. All right. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread. See the body of Christ? See how it's going? And with bitter herb they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire. His head, his legs, with the pertinence thereof. That means eat every word of Christ. Because how does a man live? Not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of God, who is the word. Yahusha is. So then eat everything that he got to offer. Eat it all. Why? Because you're going to need it to be prepared for when the Passover occurs. That's why. That's the words you're going to use to defend yourself. As soon as that nigga come and say, you ain't got nothing to eat, grandson, ha-ha, yeah, I'm going to say, he said, take no thought of what you shall eat. Why are you trying to attempt to persuade me that I should? See, when I do that, I'm exposing that he's not of Christ. I'm exposing that he's evil by saying that. But if I don't know Christ's words, then I think it's natural and normal because I'm carnally minded. I say, yeah, man, I'm hungry, man. I haven't eaten in 2 or 3 days. Sheesh, golly, no one cares about me. I guess I'm just a loser. I'm all alone and I just have nobody. See, it just compounds and compounds and compounds, all because I let one thought come in there. He going to bring 7 in more when he come in. So I ain't letting that nigga in. Strong man in a house sitting there with a shotgun, like I told you, saying, step up here. The shotgun is that blood. I'm going to spray this blood on your ass. You come stepping up here. No, please. Please don't do it, grandson. Please don't. Well, then stay the fuck away from me then. How about that? Y'all hear that energy? Don't be offended by the word. Pay attention to the heart. Shouldn't your heart be in that same state? So then don't be offended by the word you heard. Continuing. Watch this here. He says, so eat all of it, and you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning. Don't let none of it remain. Didn't I tell you to eat it all up? Don't forget nothing what Christ said. Don't leave none of that in the book and didn't pick it up and put it in your mouth. Don't eat it. Every word he said. See, that's how you're going to live. Now let's see. And that which remaineth of it until the morning, you shall burn with fire. Thus shall you eat it with your loins girded, with your shoes on your feet, your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover. So don't waste no time getting Christ's words up into you. Swallow them down, snatch them up like a starving man. You see that there? Like a starving man. For this is the Lord's Passover. Here we go. For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man, beast, and against all the gods of Egypt. Will I execute judgment? I am that I am. Verse 13, and the blood shall be to you for a token, like I told you, upon the houses where you are. As I'm walking around, my house is my body, which temple ye are. So I'm walking in my temple. The blood's up there. So as soon as a demon, which is an unclean thought, tries to jump into that temple, he sees that blood and goes, skedaddle. Told you that. Can't be around it. I'll get vanquished if I go in there. That's right, nigga. I try to step on up in here and get burnt up with the Ruach HaKodesh fire. Like we just read. It was right there. It said fire. We just read. Okay. And I will pass, when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you, the plague. So we read in another place, he says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partaker of her plagues. So if your mind has Christ's blood all over it, then you are spiritually minded and you have come out of the carnal mind, which is the fallen woman that listened to Satan's teachings. That's what you learned, how to make it look good and it ain't good. That's what she was deceived with. So that's what she teaches about how to deceive. That's why she's the way she is. Like I've already said, she painted herself up to be something that she's not. That's what she learned from her father, and then she taught it to you. The Pharisees was doing it. The chief priests, the elders was all doing that shit that they learned from Jezebel, which was from Satan. And then he said, come out of her, my people, that you be not partaker of her plagues. So he says, if I see that spiritual mind, the plague won't hit you. So when he says come out, he says come out the carnal mind. Come into the spiritual mind, which is the ark, which is where I am. Where are you? And you shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this self same day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. See, out of the carnal mind this same day, because of that blood you got on you. That's what's going to pull you out. Otherwise, you'll die. Carnal mind is death. Have I explained it thoroughly enough? Have I? Watch, guys. Keep listening. Therefore shall you observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, you shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at even. 7 days. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses. See, for whosoever eateth that which is leavened, even that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Israel. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. The Pharisees learned from the woman how to decorate the outside of the cups. They learned that from Satan. She taught it to them. So don't get their leaven. Look at them painting the outside. Yeah, outside you look good. Inside full of dead men's bones. You're a whited sepulchre, which indeed outwardly appear beautiful, but inside is full of all kinds of nastiness. You indeed clean the outside of the cup and platter, but the inside is full of extortion and excess. It just keeps on going, doesn't it? That's the teaching of Jezebel that she learned from Satan, that the whole world is corrupted with, that he wants you to come out of, like the grandson keep telling you to. And you can damn sure look at me and tell if I done came out and don't take no thought of that stuff no more. I'm plain Jane, ain't I? I'm as plain as can be, proving I've come out of that world of outward damn appearance, y'all. I'm proving it to you. Continuing. So you'll be cut off if you got leaven. He says, you shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitation shall you eat unleavened bread. Then unleavened bread was Yahushua's body. So eat Yahushua's words them whole 7 days. And don't eat nothing else. Don't receive nothing into your mind other than what Yahushua said. And then you'll live. Because he said, if you receive my words, then I liken you to a wise man that built a house that when the temptation came, tried to tear it down, it didn't fall. Because you kept my sayings. But the foolish man did not keep my saying, the house fell. So then the sayings are the unleavened bread that you need to take into your temple in order for you to be like Yahushua and survive. Can't you hear this shit, man? Y'all think I'm just doing this by some fluke, making stuff up? Come on, y'all. Watch this. Then Moses called for the elders of Israel. See that there? The elders, same guys we were reading about, and said unto them, draw out and take you a lamb according to your family, kill the Passover, and so on and so forth. Okay? Told them to do the same thing. Now watch verse 23. For I will pass through to smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and on the two side posts, the Lord will pass over the door. And will not suffer. Watch! If you care, you will. And will not suffer. The blade I've been sharpening this whole time is coming up. Swing, swing, swing. Watch, watch. And will not suffer the destroyer to what? Wait a minute, grandson. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That shit's so clean, it got a gleam coming off of it. He will not suffer the destroyer to do what? to come into your houses to smite you. So what does he have to do in order to smite you? He has to come into your house. I told you it. That's here. He wants to come in there to feed you thoughts. That's what an angel does. Angel means messenger. So he wants to bring messages that will destroy you. Obviously, that's the carnal mind that wants to make entrance into you so that he could kill you, because the carnal mind is death. And that's why the scripture says, "Oh, death, where is your sting?" For the last enemy to be destroyed is death. And how did they overcome, little flock? Those who overcame death, how did they overcome? By the blood of the Lamb. Same thing I'm reading to you today. He will not suffer the destroyer to come into your houses to smite you. So he's the one who's going to block him. I told you the blood does it. Oh, shit, can't go in there. Hell no. Skedaddle. On to the next house. Shad. Hopefully it's an Egyptian in there and not one of those Israelites with that blood on there. Sheesh. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 10. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. My mouth dry, y'all. I'm working today. I'm working every day. Hopefully y'all can buy me a Waikia or something. my throat dry. 1 Corinthians chapter 10. The links is down in there. Cash App your boy $10. You can get a Waikia or something. More, because I'm thirsty and it's hot. Moreover, brethren, I would not that you should be ignorant, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1, how that all our fathers were under the cloud, and all passed through the sea, and all were baptized unto Moses in the cloud and in the sea, and all did eat the same spiritual meat. Spiritual meat? Yeah. And did all drink the same spiritual drink? That was the unleavened bread and the wine I just told you guys about. That's the spiritual stuff. For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them. And that rock was who? Christ. Just like we were reading about, guys. See how it's connecting all over the Bible? But with many of them, God was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things were our example, to the intent that we should not lust after evil things as they also lusted. Told ya. Neither be idolaters, as were some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and to drink and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed and fell in one day, 23,000. Neither let us tempt Christ, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. Listen at what he's saying, neither let us be. So neither be idolaters, neither let us commit fornication. See it? Neither let us tempt Christ, neither murmur ye, as some of them also murmured and were destroyed of the what? Let me get on down in the squat here. They were destroyed of the what, little flockulators? That same destroyer. Now, wait a minute here. He says he won't suffer the destroyer to come in your house and kill you if you got Christ's blood on the door. But it says here, these people were being in idolatry. They were fornicating, and they were doing things that were in the carnal mind. Obviously, that's what they were doing. So what happened to them? The destroyer killed them because they weren't in the spiritual mind. And if you're not in the spiritual, as we read earlier, spiritual meat and drink we was talking about, then your ass gonna die. See it? Now all these things happened unto them for examples, and they were written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world are come. The end of the world. This is written for them, the ones I'm talking to right now. So heed the example that he's given here. See that there? Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth, Peter that day, I'll go with you to the end, even it's to death. See how I was connecting that Lego? I'm about to snap it in right now. Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. I don't know him. What are you talking about? I shall never deny thee. I don't know him. What are you talking about? That's a double-minded man that's unstable. That's called Simon. That's called evil. That's called Satan, get behind me. But Peter, oh, you a rock. So be converted. Accept who you truly is. Just like I told y'all. Watch 13. There hath no temptation. Why is that word coming up? Because that's what this message is about. So it's going to always connect like Legos. So when you're going, man, the devil singled me out. He must really hate me. I don't understand why he's coming at me so hard. What did I ever do to deserve such a thing? You see that? When you have that attitude, then you don't know this scripture, obviously. It says, there have no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. So why in the hell do you think it's uncommon? Because your pride deceiving you. Because the carnal mind has got your ass. The destroyer going to destroy you. That's why. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able. So then why do you act like you are being tempted above what you're able? Why won't it stop? When will it ever end? This is more than what other men have been tried with. This is more temptation than any man has suffered. You're just lying. You're proving who your father is, nigga. You ain't no Christ. Christ don't talk like that. The devils do. So get behind me, Satan, until your ass be converted. And then maybe you can strengthen somebody, because you can't strengthen shit talking that shit. What kind of prophet can strengthen a flock of people while standing in front of them saying, oh, woe is me. The devil, he's just attacked me so much, a little flock. I don't understand. I must be going through more than you guys all are. No, when I talk to you, I talk about it as if it's common. Y'all know good and damn well this shit going on. What about this when this be happening? That's how I be talking to y'all, like it's common. Because of this scripture right here, that's why. So he gonna make with the temptation, so when the temptation comes, he make a way of escape, that you may be able to bear it. So he make a way out of it. Wherefore, my dearly beloved, flee from idolatry. I speak as to wise men. Isn't that what I described to you? Judge ye what I say. You see that? The cup of blessing, which we bless, is it not the communion of the blood of Christ? See? Same thing we've been talking about. The bread which we break, is it not the communion of the body of Christ? See? Same thing I've been talking about. Let us go to Psalm. Psalm chapter 17. See what David got to say concerning the matter. Psalm chapter 17. Start at verse 1. A prayer of David. Hear the right, O Lord. Attend unto my cry. Give ear unto my prayer, that goeth not out of feigned lips. You see, this ain't fake. This coming from the heart. Let my sentence come forth from thy presence. Let thine eyes behold the things that are equal. Thou hast proved mine heart. See, thou hast visited me in the night. Thou hast tried me and shall find nothing. Remember that blood? See what I'm telling you? He said he came in the night. When does that angel pass over? He told you when. I am purposed that my mouth shall not transgress. See, I'm going to be quiet and not say nothing. See that there? Concerning the works of men, by the word of your lips, I have kept me from the paths of the destroyer. So by the word of the lips of the Lamb, which is Christ, that is what kept him from the path of the destroyer. And you guys are still screwing around thinking that it ain't the remedy? I'm proving to you that it is. So instead of complaining and murmuring, start throwing words out that Christ would use. Then maybe the devil will leave you and the ministering spirits will come and minister to you. Okay? Okay. Jeremiah 4:7. All right, got a few more scriptures left and then we'll be done with this, y'all. Jeremiah 4:7. The lion is come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. The what? The destroyer of the Gentiles. All these things the Gentiles seek. But be ye not like unto them, and seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, which is righteousness, and the rest shall be added to you. So if you seek the spiritual mind first, then the things which are needful to your body will be added to your life, because you've done the thing that pleases the Father. But if you're a Gentile, then you can't get out of your carnal mind. You're thinking about what you eat, drink, wear, and everything else that Yahushua said Gentiles think about. Well, that's proving they're in the carnal mind. So then what's going to happen to those who are in the carnal mind, called the Gentiles here? It says there's a destroyer that come up. A lion then came up from his thicket. He is a roaring lion seeking whom he can destroy. Is that what it says? Is that what it says about that wicked lion going around looking for who he can destroy? Yeah. Yeah. Well, it says there he is. There he is. You see it? He is gone forth from his place to make thy land desolate, just like Egypt. And thy cities shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. See? You see how it's all over the Bible? Let's go to Revelation chapter 9. And then we'll be done. Revelation chapter 9. Start at verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit. And there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a furnace, of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power as the scorpions of the earth have power. Scorpions, pay attention. Get over here! Pay attention. And it was commanded them that they, what about they? That they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree. So that's not what they're chasing after, but only those men which have not the seal of El in their foreheads, which represent what kind of mind they have. If you have the mark of the beast, then you are in the carnal mind. If you have the mark and the seal of God, then you are in the spiritual mind. It's that simple. So we see here that this key of bottomless pit was given to an angel, and he unlocked it, and came out a bunch of locusts with power like a scorpion that were going to do some hurting. But they're only going to hurt a certain type of man, carnally minded men. See? See? Let's continue. And to them it was given that they should not kill them. So these men that don't have the seal, it's not going to kill them. What is it going to do? But that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. Now, that don't do you no good if you don't know what happens to a man and the torment that come upon him when a scorpion strike him. So I'm going to help you understand the symptoms of what happens to you when a venomous scorpion strikes you. Let's see. Symptoms: a hard time breathing, muscle twitching or thrashing, unusual head, neck, and eye movements, drooling, sweating, slurred speech, nausea, vomiting, high blood pressure, hypertension, fast heart rate, being restless and excitable. Did you hear the symptoms of getting stung by a venomous scorpion? So you don't die. Those are the symptoms that you get. Now, remember when I said when you're in the carnal mind, it's going to manifest itself where spit going to fly out your mouth and you're going to be looking all crazy and every damn thing and neck twitching and eyes bulging all out and everything. When you start to arguing, you gave in and you start arguing, fuck you, what? As soon as you start doing that, you look like a hard time breathing you were having. It also looked like your muscles were twitching. You had some unusual head, neck, and eye movements going on. You were doing some drooling. You also were sweating and your speech was slurred. Your high blood pressure's kicking up and you got a high-ass heart rate. Gosh golly. Let me get my napkin and clean off the edge of my plate. The same symptoms you would have if you were in the carnal mind taken over by it. Yeah, so do you understand what the scripture is telling you there? It is the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shape of the locust, and it goes on talking about how they look and whatnot. That ain't what's important to the conversation right now. All right. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. See that little flock? And they had a king over them. Now listen at this real nice and good. And they had a king over them, which is the angel. Told you what angel means. Angel means messenger, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. Now, when you eat food, it go in there, don't it? And you'll say, I'm full. Well, then what happened when you woke up? What happened 4 hours later? Well, I was eating dinner. I thought you said you were full. Well, I had to eat again. Why? Because I got hungry again. So then you're putting food into something that's just going to keep on craving it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And I told you Satan's seat is your belly. The scriptures also said their God is their belly. Oh, my goodness gracious. Little flock. I mean, come on. Come on. Come on now. And they had a king over them. Watch what the king's name is going to be. Just watch. Which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. What does that name mean? It means the destroyer. I think that's it, guys. I think that's it. So you guys following that? That's what's going on right now. This is why you're having a harder time being patient. This is why it's harder now than it was before for you to be peaceful. Don't you see it? And as the strain of physical things becomes more and more, in other words, what I mean is, let's just say you go through financial hardship, you have no food, you have no money, you have nowhere to live, you have no roof over your head. If that was to suddenly happen to you, it would be very hard for you to hold your peace and stay in a peaceful state, wouldn't it? Or if somebody came in your house and killed all of your family, it would be pretty hard for you to hold your peace and not be tempted to go into the carnal mind and get the twitching and heart rate going up, like I just explained to you, happens when a scorpion stings your ass. Now you know where that sting is coming from. Oh, death, where is your sting? How come I don't feel that feeling no more? How come I'm at perfect peace and I'm just chilling? Because you listen to Yahusha. So he has no power over you, that destroyer, Abaddon. He has no power over you. We just read it. He has to get permission. From who? Christ. And if Christ don't give him no permission, then he can't come in there. Loud ass niggas. Loud ass working in vain ass niggas. So I don't think there's much more I gotta say, little flock. Plus it's loud as hell over here because these niggas over here working, they say. Trying to disrupt my work. Y'all be blessed today, little flock. And like I said, I could sure use you guys' support. So if you find it in your heart to help your boy, by all means, the links is down below. Because I'm hungry and I'm thirsty, y'all. And since I don't want to be taking thought of it, I want y'all to take thought of it for me. I'm just messing with y'all, but y'all have a blessed day today. Shalom, Israel.